Hello, everyone. Tina Hogan Grant here for my monthly chatter that I like to do once a month. I do a solo chat, and it usually lasts about an hour. You can watch me live on YouTube channel or on my author Facebook page. If you can see me or hear me, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to be do a live reading today from one of my books and talk about what is happening in the author world of myself and what to look forward to in the near future. So I'm waiting for people to join me. And we have Elaine here. Hey, Elaine, how are you doing, my dear? Good to see you. And give it a few minutes for people to come on. I am trying to get back onto my schedule of doing a live solo chat on the last Friday of the month, and that happens to be today. So I was able to make it to today, and I see Flash Cat is here, which um, oh, she's on YouTube. That's right. I remember now you telling me you are coming through clear on YouTube. Thank you so much. I'm glad you are joining me. It's been crazy around here today. Of course, it involves Mr. Jack, but the Falcon Gordon's not here, and the Falcons are going crazy because there is a Cooper's Hawk flying around, and he is trying to get our pigeons, and Jack is trying to catch the pigeons. So we have a Cooper's Hawk trying to catch the pigeons, and also the dog trying to catch the pigeons, and the Falcons that we have are going nuts with all the commotion that's going on. So we shall see how long I can stay up here, and Jack hopefully behaves himself in the yard. So before I came up here, I had to free a pigeon from him. But the funny thing is, he doesn't hurt the pigeons. He brings them into the house, and then he lets them go. So then I have a pigeon flying around my house. But that's just another day in the life of Jack. Elaine says she was looking for me in the group. Yeah, I can't do um, a live chat in the group anymore. And you can blame that on Facebook because the group is private and I have to do the lives now on a public platform. And my author page is public, whereas the group is private. And that's why the live chats are no longer the ones I do on Monday are also no longer airing in the group. And it's all because of Facebook. They say you can't go live if the group is private. So what I do now is I just share the chat after the live has ended. That's the only way I can do it. You can't watch it live in the group. It's a bummer. I enjoy doing it in the group, but hopefully, it won't change. But it is what it is. We make the best of it. So yeah, you can watch it live on my YouTube channel, and that's where Kathy is right now. Flash Cat. She is watching me on YouTube. Kathy Driscoll. So thank you, Kathy, for joining me. Elaine says, good to know. I keep forgetting I can pop up the comments on this platform. In Facebook, I can't do that, but I only use Facebook when I'm doing the hop. Elaine says, hopefully Jack will be a good boy. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. It's hot outside, so I don't want to coop him up. And besides, he'll start barking. So he's out and about in the yard. I just hope he leaves the pigeons alone. And then we have Virgie joining us. Hey, Virgie, good to see you. Thank you for joining me. It's been a while since I've done these solo chats. I'm trying to get back on schedule and do them every last Friday of the month. And I did notice today that today is the last Friday. These months are going by just so quickly. It's scary. I mean, I'm already thinking about Christmas. I talked about that on one of my posts this morning, but I'm already booking events for Christmas because you have to book them super early because they get booked up really quick. But I have a full schedule, which I'm really pleased about. 4 events for Christmas. I have one actually tomorrow. It's not Christmas, of course, but it's one I'm doing tomorrow up here. It's a local event in Pine Mountain Club. And I wish a lot of you were local. You could come to one of my events. I absolutely love doing these in-person events. But I have one tomorrow in Pine Mountain Club. Then I have one next weekend in Visalia. And then beyond that, I have to look at the calendar. But I have 3 in September. And then it gets really busy in October and November, right up before Christmas. I think my last one is December 13th, which is like, a week or 2 before Christmas. Kathy says, I love your private group. I love your private group. I invite others. I saw that and I did approve many that you invited today. So thank you for putting the word out about the group. I appreciate it. I do approve anyone, if a member invites people to the group, I do approve them because you know them, but it's up to the person you invited whether or not they join, but they are pre approved by me. So thank you, Kathy, for doing that. Elaine's asking, what's the name you use on YouTube? It's Tina Hogan Grant, I believe. I can send you a link through Messenger. Um, it's not my biggest platform. As you know, my base is Facebook, but the more eyes, the merrier. But it's where the live chats are also aired, and on Facebook. But I believe I'm under Tina Hogan Grant. That's bad, isn't it? I don't know. But I'll send you the direct link and you can follow me on YouTube. I plan on spending more time on YouTube and posting more, but I'm only one person. I can only do so much. But eventually I want to grow the YouTube channel, but not yet. And Elaine says Christmas is her favorite. I do. And because of this bead thing that I have gotten into, not it's going really well. Of course, my priority is my books. I love writing, but I've now added beads to my booth, and I'm doing the driftwood ornaments, the sun catchers, whatever you want to call them. I'm doing the velvet bookmarks. I'm doing bead strands to hang in front of your windows. I'm doing keychains and purse danglers, and also plant and bird feeder hangers, all decorated with beads. So um, it's going really well, and I've added those. I'm adding those to my booth. So I'm thinking about changing my booth banner now instead of Tina Hogan Grant to Tina's Books and Beads. So that might be something I might be doing because it's more appropriate when I do craft shows. But it really brings people into the booth, and then they discover that I am the author of the books, and then it's like, hello, a double whammy. So I'm really excited. I love doing these bead things. It's something different when I'm not writing. It's just a nice breakaway from the writing. But of course, the books are my priority. But it's just a hobby that just I kind of stumbled on after doing the bookmarks. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. So tomorrow, I do have an event tomorrow, and I'm sure Jack will help me after this chat get ready for it because when my car's open so I can load it up, Jack is just jumping in and out. He's a handful, but you gotta love him. I love his personality, and he was so much fun on the boat last week. Yes, he did jump in twice, as I mentioned in the post. He is a bird dog, so when a bird comes flying in onto the water, Jack's right there to go retrieve it. But he didn't get any birds, didn't harm any birds, but he had a blast. And before we even left the launch ramp, he was sound asleep in the on the back seat. So yeah, he's a fun dog to have around. Sherry, thank you, Sherry, so much for the comment. I love all of your books I have read. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I did have a question. I mean, I love any kind of questions from readers. I got a question from a reader the other day because I've written 17 books, as many of you have known. And a reader actually asked me this, not an author, but she asked me, do I promote all of my books? Or do I just, promote the one that I've recently written? And she asked because she would like to know what other books I had written. And I like the question. And yes, I do promote all of my books. Even though some of them, like Reckless Beginnings, was written in 2018, I still talk about it. And there's many reasons why I still talk about it. It's number one, it's what started my author career. It's very, very close to my heart because it's about me. And out of all the books I've ever written, I think Reckless Beginnings was the most difficult to write because it opened up just a can of worms. If you haven't read the book, it's about my life being dictated by a heroin addict. But it really, really opened up a can of worms on how I looked at myself. And by the time I finished writing that book, I understood myself so much better on why I allowed that to happen in my life. And a lot of it is based on fear. A lot of it is based on afraid of change. But writing that book is what started my career as an author. And it also helped me understand myself so, so much better on why I made the choices I did, made the mistakes I did. But it just made my decisions so much clearer. And what I also love about that book is the fact that the emails I got and messages I got from people that have read the book. I wanted to reach out to women that have find themselves in the same circumstances that I did, but it wasn't just geared towards women. It was geared towards anyone that has any kind of addict in your family, whether it be your son, your daughter, your mother. It could be anybody in your family. It affects the whole circle of people around that addict. I never used drugs, but it affected my life in so many ways. And the fact that I was a mother too, and it was his child. But the emails I got of how it helped them, it opened up their eyes and actually made them change their life and make changes in their life. So it was a book that not only helped me after writing it, but also helped many, many others. So yes, I do continue to talk about my past books. Rex's Beginnings does continue to be one of my bestsellers, and it's one I'm super proud of because it actually happened and it touched many, many people. And of course, I do talk about all my other books, but I talk about mainly the first books in the series, whether it be the romantic suspense series, it's Slater. And if I'm going to talk about the romantic suspense, which has some steam, then it's always that book I'm going to talk about because if you're a reader like me, you like to start at book 1. And I don't want to put you in like book 2, book 3, book 4. If I'm going to promote a book, it's going to be book 1 of that series or trilogy. And I've written 3 series, Tammy Mello trilogy, the Sabella series, and now the Secret series. So whenever I talk about books, it's usually going to be about book 1, and then it's up to the reader yourselves. If you enjoyed book 1 that I talked about and led you to, then hopefully you'll go and check out the rest of the books in the series. But to me, there's no sense in talking about the other ones, unless I bring you into book 1. So that I do talk about, and I tend to rotate in my months. This month is all about my latest books. We're getting into September. I can't believe that in a couple of days it's going to be September 1st. And you'll probably start seeing me talk about the trilogies because it's been a while since I talked about them. So it'll be a month of the Time Mello trilogy. But I don't ever forget about my books. One author said to me, which I thought was kind of odd, she says, well, I'm done with those books. I want to start with my new ones. And I says, well, your readers aren't. You might have written a book 10 years ago, and there's probably many readers that have not heard about it. So don't ever say you're done with your books. You can never be done with your books as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I do rotate and I do talk about all my books because I wrote them from the heart and I don't want you to miss them. And we have some more people joining us. We have, let's see, Donna is here. Hello, Donna. And thank you so much, Flashcat. She says you have a lot of wonderful stories inside of you. I enjoy what I do. I really do. Thank you, Elaine. I appreciate it. I wasn't planning on being a writer of 17 plus books, but like I said, Reckless Beginnings, I found my passion later in life. I wish I found it 20, 30 plus years ago. I was in my 50s when Reckless Beginnings was published, but I was too busy fishing and catching lobsters, which I wrote about too. Thank you for these comments. I really appreciate this. I love all your books I have read. Thank you. And thank you, Elaine, for letting me know that it is under my name. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, there's a little plug here. Just punch up Tina Hogan Grant on YouTube and you can follow me there. All of the live chats that I do with other authors are always aired there live as long as on my author page on YouTube. So that's a little plug for my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And it is a 3-day weekend. We have Monday as Labor Day, which is why I'm doing this event tomorrow. It's a Labor Day weekend event. And it's at our local Pine Mountain Village. So I'm looking forward to that. And I love this. It's a little market they put on twice a month on a Sunday. And I absolutely love this little market. And we get all kinds of people that drive through our little mountain just doing road trips, motorcycle rides, car rides. They're out here because we're in the boonies, we're in the mountains. It's a lovely drive if you just want to go away for the weekend and just, drive through, mountain towns. And this marketplace gets super, super busy. And I did really well at the last one, sold out of a few of my books. So I'm doing it again tomorrow, but they also have a special event on for a car show. But they have tons of vendors, and I'm part of that. So It'll be a fun event tomorrow. I'll post pictures of it, and I'm looking forward to it. So that is tomorrow's event for Labor Day. Monday is actual Labor Day Monday, and my question, which I like to ask you guys, of course, when I do a live, is what plans do you have for Labor Day? Do you have any plans for the weekend, for the Labor Day 3-day weekend? Are you working? Are you got the day off? Are you having family over? It has been hot up here, and I'm honestly tired of this heat. I am ready for the fall, and I know Elaine is also, because we were chatting the other day on Messenger, and I'm okay with the heat, but being from England, I get really tired really quick, even though I've been here for many, many years. And up here in the mountains, it's being a grueling summer as far as I'm concerned. It's supposed to be cooler up here, and I don't feel that. But I'm glad that we have the lake nearby, because I've been taking Jack there swimming. But I am so done with this heat. I'm ready for the fall, and I'm also ready for snow. We get snow up here, so I am ready for that. But let me know in the comments if you have any plans going on. Mine is tomorrow is the event. Sunday, Jack is going to camp, and I will get to clean my house. So that's what I'm doing. And then Monday, I'm not sure of yet. That's too many for. Oh, I got a live chat, don't I? I have a live chat on Monday, on Labor Day. So, and in fact, the chat is at 5 o'clock, the usual time, 5 o'clock, Monday, Pacific Standard Time. And my guest is a new author to me. Her name is Lorraine Russell. I apologize, I don't have the title of a book in front of me. But this is her debut novel. I love talking to new authors. With the very first book coming out, it takes me back to my time. And I'm super excited for her. So this is her debut novel. So be sure to come join us and give her a big cheering. It's such a fabulous feeling when you see your very first, I mean, it is for all your books, but when you actually sit down and tell yourself you're going to write a book, you're going to publish that book, and you actually see it through, it's a phenomenal feeling. So I'm super excited to talk to her and get to know about, why she wrote this book and what she has planned for her next book. And, just get inside her head. So that is coming up Monday, September the 1st. Elaine says, my birthday is in September, coming fast. Well, happy early birthday. That's exciting. Happy early birthday. And it is my sister's birthday, my twin sisters, older sisters, in September. And also my mother's, who's passed away, but she was born September 14th. And Elaine is also getting the greenhouse ready to put the plants in soon. But it's still too warm and humid. Yeah, it's hot up here. I'm just so done with it. But yeah, let me know what you are doing for Labor Day weekend. Sherry says, I have missed watching the group, being so busy. We are all busy people. And I tend to not be in the group, the Read More Books group, only during the nighttime. I mean, I will pop in just to approve posts. So if Karen's busy at work, I know she has a full-time job. Karen Wright, so I will pop in when I can and approve posts, so you're not waiting too long. But other than that, I cannot spend my days in the group because I just won't get anything done. As much as I'd love to just hang out with you 24/7, I would love it, but then you'd have no books to read. So that's my excuse. But I do come in the evenings after I've wound down, got my stuff done during the day, and Jackie is being more civilized, and I can sit down on the couch. Then I would just go in the group and comment where I can and schedule my post for the next day and do all that kind of stuff. But during the day, it is very dangerous for me to even come in and say hi, because I have tried that before, and there goes my day, as much as I love to do that. So if you have any questions for me in the group, you can post them and I will find them and stuff like that. Sherry Evans, what is the last book you put out? The last book I put out, and I wish I had a copy of it, but I don't. Shame on me. Was A Daughter's Secret. That came out August the 15th. It is book 2 of the Secret series. I wasn't planning on being a series, but Patricia Levenick from book 1, which is that one behind me. I don't have A Daughter's Secret. It looks similar to this, but with a coffee. Well, here is the bookmark of A Daughter's Secret. That's the cover. And then this is book 1, Secrets Told. This one came out last year, but because Patricia Levenick showed up in book 2, it is now a series. But I say that, but you could still. I shouldn't say, because if you want to get the whole series and get to know all the characters, I'm going to say start at book 1, and then they will follow through. Because I started book 3, and I already know that it's going to be called A Boyfriend's Secret. I had the title before I started writing, and I was not planning on starting this book so soon. I was totally surprised by it, because in all of my other books, most of them, I should say, I like to take some downtime in between each book so I can clear my head and then focus on the next book. But as you all know, my characters talk to me, and they were just in my head constantly after finishing and publishing A Daughter's Secret, that I really had to sit down and start writing just to clear my head, because they would not shut up. I am on chapter 6, and already there's surprises. That's all I can tell you. I have no idea where the story's going, because, as you know, I don't plot my books. I kind of have a feel of a few things, what's happening, but I have no idea what's in store. Well, obviously, a boyfriend is holding a secret. Now, I'm not going to give too much away, but there is a boyfriend in A Daughter's Secret, but there's also another boyfriend in in the new book. So, which boyfriend's holding the secret? Blah 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 blah. I don't know. So, but yeah, my last book was A Daughter's Secret. It's been out. Is it a month already? Couple of weeks, maybe a month. When did it come out? August. Did it come out in July? It came out in July 15th. So it's just over a month. It's been out. Let's see. Elaine says, Grace is watching with me. She thinks this is interesting. Live lady on my phone. That's so cute. Hi, Grace. She is adorable. She really is. She is. So that is what's going on. I am, like I said, started the next book. I don't, of course, have a release date. It's still way too early to even consider that. But I will keep you posted on my progress. I will probably be posting some excerpts that are not edited at all and will be raw and might change a little bit by the time the book is published. But I will keep you in the loop as far as this book is concerned. My newsletter is going to be going out on September the 1st. I only send out one newsletter a month, and it pretty much is just giving you insights of what I'm working on, a few fellow authors that I like to share their books with, and just a little, keep you updated on what's going on in my author world. Donna, she says, fall is my favorite season also. No big plans this weekend, but a small barbecue with hubby at home. Trim some plants and go for a long ride. That sounds perfect to me. Go for a long ride and come see me at the event in Pine Mountain Club. I'm just kidding. But that sounds like a perfect weekend. I love that. I like quiet weekends. I'm not into big parties and things like that anymore. Many years ago I was, but now I just like peace and quiet and the solitude of the mountains. But yeah, I love the fall, and I also like snow. I do like the snow, but I have been snowed in a few times for 3 or 4 days, and by then I'm done. So I like the snow, for a while. And then it's like, okay, I'm done. I need to go outside and get some stuff done. But when I get snowed in, I do get a lot of writing done. But we shall see. And Jack loves the snow too. So we shall see. Let's see what else is going on in my world here. Just writing, basically. I can't. The events that are coming up, the group is going along well. Karen's doing a fantastic job. Our next party in the group will probably be the Christmas party. I got to start thinking about that after October. I don't do Halloween. There's a lot of book groups that do Halloween. I do not, but our next one will be the Christmas party, and we're also going to be doing the Christmas ornament exchange, which is super popular in the group. I absolutely love that. I think this will be our 3rd or 4th year. I'm not sure, but if you're new to the group since last Christmas, now there'll be details of it in the group, but it's pretty much where I will pair you up with a member in the group and you exchange Christmas ornament gifts. We keep it to a minimum like $10. But it's a fun thing to do. It's a fun way to get to know other members of the group. And then I love it when you share what you got through the Christmas ornament exchange. So that we are definitely doing again this year. And you just basically sign up when I post. for you to sign up, and then about a week or two later, I will pair you up. So that'll be another thing we're going to be doing for Christmas. And who else is here? Virgie says, no big plans for the weekend. Well, enjoy your quiet weekend. I know all the kids are back in school. In fact, my son texted me today. He's told me that he's taking the grandkids tonight, his kids, to the first rock concert. And I've forgotten the name, taking them tonight to their first rock concert. The youngest one is 10 or 11. He has a birthday in September too, Elaine. Luke, my grandson, I think it's around September 10th. He's going to be 11, and the eldest is 13 or 14. So that's what they're doing tonight. But they're back in school, so I think most kids are back in school. The summer goes by super, super quick. Elaine says, that's hilarious. What's this? I got to put this up. Elaine said, that's hilarious. I was typing that out as you were talking about the Christmas ornament. Great minds think alike. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And we've only had not even, I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 readers, members, I'm of course not going to mention any names, that didn't follow through and send a reader the gift that they were paired with, and they are blocked from any future events that I do where a reader is paired up with another reader, because then they're spoiling it for everybody else. I'm not going to mention who it was. I did message them, and they are blocked from either trying to sign up. They're not blocked from the group unless they start, being bad in my group, but they are blocked for any events where, you promised to send somebody something and you didn't. And I don't give second chances on that. So all of you have been great about it. There's just not even a handful, 3 or 4 that didn't follow through. And if we catch them, doing it this time around, that's what happened. You just can't be involved in the events. I think that's fair. It's not fair to the person that I paired you with. And I don't know until we ask you to send the thing. So I feel bad for the person that's on the receiving end, and it kind of ruined it for them. But yeah, we're definitely doing that, and we're going to have the Christmas party, and hopefully we'll do a live chat with fellow authors. So that's the kind of things I like to do for Christmas, and I can't believe it's just a few months away. It feels like we were just doing this a few months ago, and here we are getting ready to do it again. So I'm excited about that. Elaine says that my birthday and my dad's same day. He's gone. I miss him. Yeah, it's a hole in our hearts that are never going to get filled. My dad passed away in 2010. And the one thing, there's many things I wish that, Dad had seen before he passed. It was a sudden death, heart attack, but he never saw any of my books get in print. None of them, not even Reckless Beginnings. And it's kind of one of the things that urged me to write Reckless Beginnings. He died in 2010. I got diagnosed with breast cancer a year later in 2011. I'd had the idea for Reckless Beginnings years before, but, life gets in our ways. And I told myself after those 2 incidents, if I'm going to be serious about this book, I need to write it, because we just have no idea how many days you have left on this earth. So that's what pushed me to get Reckless Beginners written. And then that was it. I was hooked. I loved the whole process of writing the book, discovering more about myself, going through the publish process. The only bad thing about the whole thing was I went through a publisher. That was a bad experience. Just the control they had over the book I'd written, that I wrote from my heart, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. And then all of a sudden I lose control of it. And the contract was for 2 years, and I couldn't wait for that contract to be up. And when it was, I said no more. And that's when I decided I was going to be a self-published author. I'm in control. I wrote these books. These are my works, and I want 100% control of them. And that is what I've been doing ever since Reckless Beginnings. Better Endings was the first book that I self-published. When Reckless Beginnings' contract was up, 2 years later, I immediately changed the cover a little bit because I couldn't keep the original, and self-published it. So that was been my author's journey, and that's the decision that I made early on as why I decided to become self-published. It's for me, it's a control issue. It's a 100% control issue, and it's my business. And I don't want anyone telling me, how I should promote it, what kind of cover I should have, and chop out this paragraph, chop out this paragraph. No, I want to be in control. And Elaine said her dad died in 2012, which is a year after mine. So, anyways, what I like to do also on these live chats is read to you. And I'm going to read to you a book that I've not read to you in a long time because I've been busy with A Daughter's Secret. But the one I've been talking about a lot about this book, and I'm going to read from you, is Reckless Beginnings, the book that started it all. If you've not read this book and you don't want any spoilers, it's up to you if you want to mute. But it's just a chapter in the book about how I mentioned, it's about me and my life being dictated by an addict. It was a really dark time in my life, and it did help to write about it. But this chapter just kind of gives you an idea of, the kind of things that I went through personally, and I'm sure many, many other people did too. But it's a book I've not read from in a long time, so I wanted to just read something different for a change. And I will mention too that Reckless Beginnings ebook is on sale for $1.99. That is my plug, and it's on sale probably for the whole month of September. I do rotate putting my books on sale, the ebooks, the paperbacks. I don't change on Amazon, but I do Flash Friday sales on my website. And in fact, I will start doing a newsletter when the flash sale goes out. If you remember my newsletter, just to let you know, there's a flash sale going on. That's it. There won't be a whole thing of things going on. It'll just be a flash sale news alert that the book's on sale. But I am going to read from Reckless Beginnings, and Flash Cat Kathy says, First Fall started it all. First Fall did start, is the prequel to the Tammy Mellows trilogy. Yes, it is. But it was written after the trilogy was finished. And I'm glad I wrote it because it is a great way to introduce people to the trilogy. And it is a book that also will include chapter 1 of Reckless Beginnings. And I wrote it after the trilogy was finished because some people, being a new author, some people are leery about spending a lot of money on an author that they have never heard of. So for me, First Fall is a very small prequel where I either give away, introduce you to my writing, or it just costs a few bucks to get to know my writing. It depends on where you find it, where you want to buy it from. But it is a wonderful prequel that I enjoyed writing. It was a super quick write. And it takes place prior to this book. So I am going to read to you. In fact, it is chapter. I got it bookmarked. I'm glad I bookmarked. It is chapter 34. So I'm not going to give you a catch up all the way through to chapter 34. But it's basically just a scene of what Tammy, I am Tammy, of course, in the book, what challenges she faces every day living with a heroin addict and also being in denial. There's a lot of things that throughout the book, people have mentioned to me in emails and reviews that they couldn't believe how naive Tammy was throughout the reading of this book. And yes, I was very naive when it came to drug use, drug addiction. When I came to this country from England, I'd never even heard of pot or seen pot. So to be thrown into Steve's world, who is the addict, was just, I didn't know anything about the addiction, nothing at all. So yes, I was very naive. I was 17, 18 when I came to this country. But before I read the book, I'm going to just have a little sip of iced tea. Hold on. All right, this is chapter 24. I'm throwing you right into the book on a scene of where Tammy, one of her many days of dealing with an addict. So, Reckless Beginnings, chapter 34. Tammy spent the next 3 days scrubbing the trailer from top to bottom, lugging buckets of water, soapy water from the main house, Rick had given her a pile of sheets and pillowcases, some of which she used for the windows after pulling down the old curtains. By the third day, she had managed to wash all the walls and clean all the cupboards inside and out. The place was at least livable now, if not somewhat cozy. The only area left to clean was the bathroom. After emptying everything from the cupboard below the vanity, she spent a few hours washing the walls, the shower stall, and the small sink. She then bagged up all the items from the vanity, which included an old hairbrush, a rusty can of shaving cream, old razors, and a plastic storage bag. Before tossing the bag, she opened it and peered inside. Sticky black tar with a strong odor of vinegar caused her to hold her breath. Disgusting, she said, whipping her head in the opposite direction. Feeling satisfied with the much cleaner state of the bathroom, Tammy grabbed the large black trash bag and headed out the driveway. Pleased to see the trash truck was at the house next door, she waited by the curb and waved at the guy standing on the back of the truck. As it pulled up in front of her and came to a stop, Tammy held up the bag and yelled, "Can you take this one, please?" The man jumped off the truck and approached her. "Sure, darling," he said with a cheeky grin and a wink. Ignoring his flirtatious manner, Tammy handed him the bag. "Thank you," she said before heading back up the driveway. Happy with her progress on the trailer and not expecting Steve to return any time after dark, she decided to treat herself to a shower and some lunch. Since arriving at Rick's, Stephen had changed dramatically. Rarely did they see or even talk to each other. Using her car, they left early in the morning before she was awake, and Stephen would always leave a $20 bill on the small dinette table. She used the money to buy cleaning supplies and lunch for herself from the small market at the end of the street. Always returning home after dark, usually in a delirious state, Stephen never said more than a few words to Tammy. She watched from afar as he flopped onto the couch with his eyelids drooping halfway over his reddened eyes. He invariably nodded off on the couch with his head bent forward in a drowsy state, as Tammy looked on in disgust. Sometimes straining to stay awake, he'd jerk up in a moment of panic, but within a few seconds he'd nod off again, incoherent and oblivious to Tammy's presence. Appalled by his appearance and erratic behavior, Tammy often slept in the bed alone. By the time she woke up, he was gone again. On her way to take a shower the following morning, Tammy couldn't avoid the dirty dishes piled high in the sink of the main house, and decided to wash them. Above the clatter of dishes and cutlery, she thought she heard a noise coming from the backyard. Slowly raising her hands out of the soapy water and giving them a brisk shake, she stood in silence and listened intently for any more sounds outside. A few seconds went by before she heard the roaring holler of a male voice and what sounded like objects crashing against the wall. Puzzled, Tammy ran to the back door and out into the yard. "What the hell is going on?" she grumbled. Turning her head from side to side, she scanned the entire area and tried to turn in on where the commotion was coming from. Another round of shouting confirmed the noise was coming from the trailer. From inside, she heard Stephen yell, "Where the fuck is it?" Alarmed, Tammy ran as fast as she could to the entranceway and nervously peeked her head through the door. Horrified by what she saw, she slapped her hands over her open mouth and gasped in shock. The trailer she had just spent 3 days diligently cleaning and trying to make a home out of had seemingly been destroyed in a matter of minutes. Every drawer had been pulled out, and their broken contents were now scattered across the floor in a state of disarray. The once neatly organized stacks of plates and cups now lay in ruins beneath her feet, and the few cupboard doors that hadn't been torn from their hinges were open and swinging freely. Stephen, still unaware of Tammy's presence, was now in the bedroom with his back facing her. As Tammy raced in his direction, fueled with hatred, she could see the bed had been torn apart, sheets and blankets were tossed into corners, and the mattress lay on its side against the wall. In a blind rage, Stephen was pulling everything out of the cupboards above the bed and launching their belongings around the room. Diving between the flying objects, Tammy ran over to him. "Stephen, stop! What are you doing?" she yelled while grabbing him by the shoulders and pulling him back. He spun around with a fiery glint in his eyes and locked his fingers around her arms. "Where is it, Tammy? What did you do with the bag?" Stephen screamed as he rattled her body back and forth under his tight grip. Bracing against the pain of his fingernails digging into her flesh, Tammy cried out, "Stephen, you're hurting me." Terrified, she looked into his eyes, shadowed by a haunting darkness of a man she no longer knew. "Where's the effing bag, Tammy?" What bag? I don't know what you're talking about, Tammy sobbed. The bag that was underneath the sink in the bathroom. I know I left it there, but now it's gone. Stephen shook her harder. What did you do with it? Answer me, he screamed in her face, so loud that spots of spit flew out of his mouth and landed on her pale skin. Stephen, you're scaring me. She was choking on her words, trembling with fear. There was nothing under there but trash. Unable to see through the veil of ushered tears, she sniffed hard to clear her nose. The only bag under there was a plastic bag with some old brown stuff in it. Stephen froze, his eyes shut wide open with hope. That's the one. What did you do with it? I threw it away. I thought it was rubbish. As a wave of panic flushed through him, he released his grip on Tammy and spun around before storming back through the trailer, scanning the wreckage for any kind of trash bag. Where's the trash bag you put it in? Digging through piles of clutter, he yelled louder. Where is it, Tammy? I gave it to the trash man. He pulled up right when I was walking out to the driveway. You did what? Fuck. As a look of horror descended over Stephen's face, he raised his right arm high above his shoulder and swung it down across the left side of her face. From the unexpected force of his strike, Tammy collapsed against the wall and slid down to the floor. Cupping her cheek in her hand, she felt a hot throbbing pain beneath her skin. Petrified by his unraised state and unable to understand what had come over him, she cowered beneath the shelter of her shaking hands. I'm sorry, I didn't know, she whispered, her voice trembling with fear. Stephen's shadow loomed over her, his eyes blazing and his nostrils flaring with anger. He mocked her by impersonating her female voice. I didn't know. Before Tammy realized what he was doing, his left foot barreled hard into her stomach. Squealing in pain, she curled up in her fetal position and held her stomach tight. My God, Stephen, the baby, she screamed, as a cascade of tears poured down her face. Ignoring Tammy's anguish, Stephen jabbed her sharply on the shoulder and snarled. That was $5,000 worth of stuff I was going to use to get us out of here. Now what are we going to do? Tammy had no idea what he was talking about, nor did she care. Her only worry now was the baby, unlike Stephen, who showed no concern whatsoever. Through her sobbing, she heard someone enter the trailer, and the thud of heavy footsteps making their way towards them in silence. Tammy gushed with relief. Hey, Stephen, you in here? She heard Rick call. Stephen held a finger up to his lips, instructing Tammy to be quiet. Not now, man. She ignored his request. In here, Ricky, Tammy hollowed back. Rick appeared in the doorway just in time to see Stephen punishing Tammy for not keeping her mouth shut by slapping her across the back of her head. Horrified by what he witnessed, Rick rushed over to Stephen, grabbed his arms, and yanked him away from Tammy. Whoa, man, what the fuck is going on? This stupid bitch threw away the bag, ma'am, Stephen moaned, struggling to break loose from Rick's firm hold. Ignoring Stephen's protest, Rick turned to Tammy, who was still sobbing on the floor. Are you okay? Afraid to speak again, Tammy simply nodded. I'll be right back, Rick said as he began to walk Stephen out of the room. Come on, man, let's get you some fresh air. You need to calm down. Outside the trailer, with enough distance between them and Tammy, Rick let Stephen go. I'm so screwed, man, Stephen griped while fumbling for a cigarette in his jeans pocket. Don't sweat about the stuff right now. Jeez. Rick took a cigarette from Stephen, lit it, and inhaled deeply. Why did you hit her? She doesn't know what's going on. Damn it. He drew a few more deep hits off the cigarette and stomped it out on the ground. Stay here while I go talk to your girl. Rick found Tammy curled in the fetal position on the floor, sobbing and holding her stomach. Kneeling beside her, Rick took her in his arms. It's going to be okay. Be quiet, okay? Tammy welcomed his embrace and huddled her head against his chest. Rick held her tight, letting her cry until she was ready to speak. I don't know what I did wrong, Rick. There's nothing but trash under that sink. She pulled away from her arms and leaned against the wall before stretching out her legs and placing her hands back over her stomach. I've never seen him so angry. No one has ever hit me before, not even my father. I'm worried about the baby, Rick. He kicked me in my stomach. I'm sure the baby's fine. Do you have any cramps or pain? Tammy shook her head. And you're not bleeding, right? Again, she shook her head. Rick knew he had to come clean with her. She had a right to know. He placed a hand on her knee. Tammy, the stuff in the plastic bag that you threw away was $5,000 worth of heroin. It was what? She asked, puzzled. Heroin, he repeated. It's a narcotic drug, and Stephen is selling it for me. He should have told you all this before dragging you up here. We go way back. We've known each other ever since high school and used to get high together. Tammy stared at Rick in shock. She couldn't believe what he was telling her. Stephen uses drugs? I thought you knew. He was stunned that she didn't. Haven't you noticed the tracks? Or I guess you can call them scars, or his arms? Haven't you found any needles? I did find needles once in our old apartment back in Longswood. Suddenly it hit her. Stephen had been lying to her from the beginning. I confronted him. But because I didn't really know what they were for, I asked why he never told me he was a diabetic. Rick chuckled. Sorry. I don't mean to laugh. You really thought he was a diabetic? And I guess Stephen played along, right? Tammy nodded in shame. But she still wasn't totally convinced. But diabetics do use needles, and he has the scars to prove it. Honey, insulin shots don't leave scars. Those scars are from using heroin. I hate to tell you this, but Stephen's been shooting up heroin for as long as I've known him. Shooting up? What does that mean? Tammy asked. I'm sorry. It's a term used for getting high with needles. Tammy frowned. You mean like injecting drugs to get high? Vic nodded. Do you shoot up? She asked. I stopped about 4 years ago. Now I just sell the stuff. And you offer Stephen a job? Stephen contacted me a while back, said he needed to get out of town, and asked if I was still selling. When I said yes, he said he wanted in. He said he was bringing his girl with him. I assumed you knew everything, so I told him I'd set him up, and then both of you could stay here for a while. He hadn't paid our rent in over 3 months. That's why we got kicked out. He told me he had a job in sales. Well, he wasn't lying about that. He just didn't tell you what he was selling. I can't believe I never knew he was a drug user. Tammy thought for a moment. What if I tell him I don't want him to use or sell drugs anymore? Do you think he'll quit? Feeling sorry for her, Rick shook his head. She was so naive and clearly had no idea what she was up against. Tammy, he's an addict. He's a junkie. Some people are addicted to alcohol. Stephen is addicted to heroin. But the addiction to heroin is 100 times worse than being addicted to booze. Heroin is one of the most powerful addictive drugs out there. He's not going to be able to just quit. It's not that easy. He'd risk suffering from life-threatening withdrawals. Tammy knelt on her knees and faced Rick. But you quit, so why can't he? I spent over 3 years going in and out of rehab before I became clean. I couldn't have done it alone. I needed help with medication and counseling. I gradually weaned myself off the drug, and I can tell you now that is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It's dangerous of me to still sell the drug. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, the temptation is still there. But every day I get a little bit stronger. Now it's all about the money. I make damn good money selling this stuff. More than I could ever make doing a normal job. Tammy pulled herself to her feet and began pacing the room, combing her hair through her fingers. Deep in thought, well, what am I going to do? I don't want my baby around drugs or living in this trailer for that matter. Surely the baby will make him want to quit. Rick rose to his feet and walked over to her, placing his hand on her shoulder. Tammy met his gaze. Look, Tammy, I can't tell you what to do. You need to make your own decisions. But you're right. A kid shouldn't be raised in this kind of lifestyle. I hope he can quit for the sake of the baby, and for your sake too. But the sad part is, neither one of us can make him quit. He has to do it on his own. Trying to comfort herself, Tammy folded her arms. And what about the stuff I threw away? I'm so sorry, Rick. I had no idea what it was. I honestly thought it was trash. Don't you worry about it. I'll work it out with Stephen. He didn't want to tell her that Stephen would have to give him a high cut on future batches to cover the loss until the $5,000 was paid back. Right now, he was just thankful he had some extra cash stashed away to pay the dealer for the batch he had just thrown away. Well, it looks like you have a lot of thinking to do. I'm going to leave you alone. Are you going to be okay? Yeah, I'll be fine, and thank you. Still feeling sorry for her, but knowing there was nothing more he could do, Rick left the trailer to go find Stephen. After a quick lap of the yard and the house, Rick realized he was nowhere to be found. Left alone in her thoughts, Tammy questioned why she hadn't seen the signs of Stephen's drug use. Reflecting back, they all seemed so clear now. His constant mood swings, falling asleep in the middle of the day, sometimes in front of company, the needles under the sink, his frequent long visits to the bathrooms, and how he seemed much happier when he came out wearing that awful smirk she detested. That he never paid rent, still had no money. She also realized now that the stop that he made to see his buddy outside alone due to the place he needed to stop and buy drugs. No wonder he wanted her to stay in the car. Maybe she didn't want to know. Maybe she was in denial. Perhaps the hardest part to accept was that her father had known the whole time. He'd even tried to tell her, warn her, but she refused to listen. Stephen had been lying to her for months. She was having a baby with someone she didn't even know. Today she had seen the monster within. No matter what she did, she couldn't get through to him. His one and only concern was the drugs, not her, not the baby. Tammy found herself fearing him, afraid of what he may be capable of when under the spell of the drug. She could no longer trust him and would have to tread carefully to ensure she didn't cause him to explode. She needed time to think. Was she willing to give him another chance? She didn't know right now. Her priority was to find her and the baby a better home and a better life. She had to take the reins to get her life back. She had to stand up for herself and not allow herself to cower under him. Tomorrow is going to be a new start. She would begin by taking her car back so Stephen could no longer use it for drug deals. She would spend the day looking for a job and wouldn't return until her hunt proved successful. There you go. That is an insight to Tammy's world. A longer chapter than I remember. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. But that is some of the dealings that Tammy had to deal with on a daily basis. I see Lisa joined us. Hey, Lisa, and Laurel is here. Hey, Lori. And Lori Chasco joined us. And she says, your reading is expressive. Thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate it. I did mess up a couple of times. That's one thing I could not do is be a narrator. I highly, highly respect these narrators. It takes so much patience to be a narrator of books. And I have been saying for the longest time that Tammy Mellow's trilogy is in the works of being narrated. And yes, it still is. 2 of the books are completed. I just do not want to release them with a long wait in between. I don't think it's fair to the readers. If I was going to listen to an audiobook, I would want to listen to one after the other. So I have told my narrator that when she's almost done with the reunions, I will release them like a month apart, if maybe sooner. But I don't want, because it's taken her a while to do each book because she is, just the editing alone to just cut out, one little phrase that didn't sound right to me is so tedious. And I have the highest respect for her. But of course, I don't want her to rush it either. But when she's done with Better Ending, she's done with Record's Beginning, she's about to start the reunions, then it'll be time to start thinking about releasing them. Because I won't have AI books. I won't have any of my books done in AI voice. I want them done with a human voice. And next, I have a lot of books. And to have a human narrator is not cheap. We pay them for ourselves. So we are doing it book by book. So the first one, of course, is the Tammy Mellor trilogy. And I'll probably do the Secret series after that. Because the Sabella series is 8 books. That is a few pennies. So I probably just go to the Secret series for audio after that. But we'll see. And I also want her to do the prequel of the Tammy Mellor trilogy too. But that won't take long. Lori Whitney, I appreciate you having... I'm going to put a comment up. I appreciate you having the book. Yeah, it is a wait for all the audiobooks. I've been saying this for a while now that the books are being worked on, but I do not realize the work involved when it comes to narrating a book. It's something I could never, ever do. I do listen to the books. She sends them to me chapter by chapter. And then when I point something out, she has to go back in and edit it. And that takes time. Then I listen to it again. So it is very, very tedious, and the equipment that she has to have, so there's no background noise, and it's just so involved that to me it's a learning curve. This is the first books that I'm having narrated, and I jumped into it blindsided and did not realize what is involved in the books. And I'm out there, my book's getting narrated, blah 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 blah. Well, okay. Pull back in a little bit. Let's get these things done, completed, edited. And then when I have a release date, then we'll start talking about them. Yeah, being a reader, not an audio reader, but being a reader, I do want the books out there close together so that the reader doesn't have to wait. It's different when I am writing a series. I try to bring them out as quickly as I can. But when a series is complete and it's a new edition or a new format, then yes, I want to release them quickly for you. So they won't be no longer than a month, put it that way, because it doesn't take me long to release it. The covers are done for the audiobooks. Because each time you release a different format of a book, you also have to get a different format cover. I have my paperback covers, my ebook covers. Now I have an audiobook cover. So each cover of a book also has to be made differently with different measurements, different formatting. I also want to do hardbacks, but that's another formatting that I have to do. So one step at a time, because I've had requests for hardbacks of the Tammy Mellor trilogy and also large print of a lot of my books, to be quite honest. So those are formats that I also want to do in all of my books, and I also want to do foreign languages. So there's a lot of formats of all of these books that I want to do, but it's just one step at a time. I will slowly bring them to you. Laurie says it takes a certain patience, I'm sure. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't do it, and I have the utmost respect for her patience. I really do. But I am looking at the time. I enjoy these chats with you. I like to, keep you informed on what's going on, and I hope you enjoyed the read. I have not read From Reckless Beginnings in a while, so it felt good to read something different and go back to my very first book that started this journey of mine. But I want to wish you all a wonderful 3-day weekend. Be safe out there. Enjoy whatever you're going to be doing for the weekend. And I will be back on live Monday with my live chat with Lorraine Russell, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, on my author page on Facebook and also on my YouTube channel, which I now know is under my name too, Tina Hogan Grant. And until then, be safe and happy Labor Day weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you back in Facebook and in the group. Have a great night, everybody.